Hello everybody, this is Skarest here. Going to bring you a little bit of Skarest on gaming, where we take a look at various news going on around the gaming world. We'll go ahead and jump right into it today. Wanted to bring you this actually about last week when it would have been far more relevant, but as I said in the last video, had some things come up, got in the way, so this will be a little bit late. The PlayStation Plus has their November content was released, letting people know what's going to be coming out on it. These were all released on November 7th onto the PlayStation Plus. If you're not familiar with what PlayStation Plus is, it's a subscription-based system within the PS3, and I think you can sign up for the PS Vita as well. I'm not positive, to be honest. I don't have a Vita. But what you end up doing is you pay a yearly subscription, and it's not to gain online access. You get that for free through the PS3, but what it does is it gives you access to a bunch of free games that they have on there, as well as giving you various discount codes and so forth or not discount codes, but giving you discounts on various other games that are released, letting you into betas and stuff of that nature that you would not be able to get into otherwise. Overall, if you see games that are on that free list that you like, or if you just buy a lot of stuff on the PlayStation Store, well worth it. I think it's personally worth it. So if you got the few extra bucks that you can throw at it, by all means definitely do so. But we had 3 games that released last week on November 7th, and we had 2 that were taken off. The 3 that released is you had Crysis 2 coming out, so that's actually a very fun game. I enjoyed Crysis. If you're into shooter type games at all, jump onto it. And then 2 games I'm not familiar with myself, being Ratchet & Clank All for One and Cubics HD. Now the 2 that were taken off were Just Cause 2, great game, sad to see it go, and Borderlands, not as good as Borderlands 2, but overall still a good game. Those two have now both been dropped off of the PlayStation Plus list. Okay, moving on. We're taking a look at some of the bigger news now. We have a release date on StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. So I'm sure everyone is all happy, joy about that one. Our release date on that is going to end up being March 12th, 2013. There's of course going to be a digital deluxe edition as well as the physical deluxe edition. The digital deluxe will include, I'm going to probably butcher this name. I don't play StarCraft 2. I watch people play it. I have some friends that play it, but I never got into it. But it's a Taurus-Q Ultralisk skin, I guess is how we're going to say that. 3 portraits and 3 decals in StarCraft 2. You'll also pick up a Baneling pet for World of Warcraft that is supposed to be available to use in pet battling. And then also Blade Wings and Banner Sigil for Diablo 3. Now in the physical collector's edition, you will of course pick up those same 3 things. There will also be the Heart of Swarm art book, the Zerg Rush mouse pad, behind the scenes Blu-ray and DVD set, and the collector's edition soundtrack. So got a bit of free stuff coming on there. No pets in this particular time that I see, or not pets, but no mounts going out to any of your Warcraft people on this particular one. So if you happen to be into it, definitely pick it up. They're also going to do a package deal of the combination of Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm if you never got into it. I might actually start to look into that myself. I never got into StarCraft. I like RTS games. I was much more of a Command and Conquer player myself when I was younger. Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun being probably my personal favorite of the RTS games. So I might pick it up myself. So if you have any interest in all of that, make sure you jump on that. You can go ahead and pre-order those now. Moving on to a little bit of GameStop news. Former Gamestop VP pled guilty to embezzling just a little shy of $2 million. This is Frank Christopher Oliveira, who was the VP for Corporate Communications and Public Affairs. He ended up embezzling $1,965,900 from the company, and he was sending it through payments from July of 2009 to April of 2011 to Cloud Communications LLC, which was just a front company. It was not real, it was fictitious. That was owned and controlled by Oliveira in order to pocket the money into his own account. That's always fun and dandy. While I'm not a big fan of GameStop on a personal level, Frank's a douchebag. We'll just put that Frank there. Pun intended. He's a douchebag. If you're going to sit there and you're going to steal the money from your employer, and he's a VP for a major corporation, I imagine he's making a buck or two. And he's going to sit there and steal $2 million from your employer. I just don't like anyone who does that kind of crap. It's, you know, if you've got money issues, you need to find a way to work it out. You don't thieve from your employer. You're not just hurting yourself at that point in time. What you end up causing is you're going to hurt a lot of people in the long run. You're going to end up, or not just hurting the company, I mean. You're going to end up hurting, of course, the shareholders, which some people say, oh, don't care about them. Keep in mind that a lot of people may own stock in this. It's not just your normal, it's not a bunch of rich white guys that own stock in this. You're going to have, I'll guarantee you, a lot of 20-somethings who think, oh, I love GameStop, and they end up having some stock and ownership in it. And it may be mixed into people's 401ks one way or another, who knows. So when you do that kind of stuff, you're hurting everyone. And at bare minimum, anytime you got to figure if they start losing money, GameStop's goal is now to figure out a way to make money again, and that's going to have a direct impact in the stores, which affects every little Tom, Dick, and Harry that happens to go in there to buy anything. So yeah, it hurts everybody involved. It's not a nice thing. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of GameStop, so we're going to talk about that for a moment, not directly related to this. But I like to talk about it anyway. With GameStop, my main issue comes down to the fact that they pay you next to nothing for what you trade into them, and they sell it at a heck of a profit. Now, that's their right. I don't argue with their right to do that. I argue with us as people going and doing it. When you could go on to Craigslist, or it's a bit more hassle, but go on to eBay, and you could get far more bang for your buck, or in this case, buck for your game, out of those particular routes. As an example, they were talking about if you just bought Black Ops 2 or Assassin's Creed 3, if you turn them in within 30 days, they'll give you $30. Well, you bought the game for $60, they're going to give you $30. They turn around and sell it for $55 used. It's not like they're giving a huge discount to anybody who happens to go and buy it used. You're getting $5 off. So they're making a nice little $25 profit off of that one, and they'll sell that game extremely quickly. I don't care for it. You'll go on, it's a $60 game, you can go on Craigslist when it's just released, and as long as you're in good condition, you have the stuff, you'll get $50 for the game still. Not that hard of a thing to do. So I would personally recommend sell it that way. My other issue with the GameStop, and please, dear God, keep in mind this is anecdotal evidence. This is purely my situation with the 2 or 3 GameStops that are around me. This is not representative of the company, unlike where I think how much they're paying you for the games is representative of GameStop as a whole. This is not representative of the company. Just my local GameStops. Disclaimer done. The employees that I deal with are useless. There's, I think, in the 3 GameStops that I go to around here, there's one employee that knows anything. And he's a little bit of a egotistical kind of D-bag most of the time as well. But he's the only one that knows anything. But when you actually ask him about a game that's not Call of Duty Black Ops or not Assassin's Creed, if it's not a AAA massive title, he's the only one that has any clue what it is. And so, I like that guy, but the rest of them, they're useless people. They don't do me any real good. I recommend, and this is what I do, if you can find one, find a local game store, frequent them. I have one that I go to here in Largo, Florida, called M&M Games. I like these folks. They've always been good to me. They know me when I come in. I've won various prizes from them, which is always cool. But they give fair prices. They sell my retro games that I'm looking for, but they of course also sell new stuff, and you're helping your local businesses. So folks, look at your local guys, help them out instead. You'll generally get better prices because they know they have to compete directly with GameStop, and you'll generally get better trade-in stuff. So do that. I think it's a better idea. Moving on, we're going to take a look at a little bit of Call of Duty, actually Black Ops, but not number 2. We're taking a look at Declassified. This is for the PlayStation Vita, in which this was done by, what is it? It's Instignet Games. Excuse me. I was about to say it was Treyarch, but it's not Treyarch. This is Instignet. Stigat, something like that. Games. And they did not release Declassified for early critical reviews, which a lot of critics consider that a bad sign. I feel it's up to the company one way or the other if they want to. But here's where the issue comes in. Dan Reichert, I don't know how you pronounce it, so I apologize if I butchered it. He's the associate editor for Game Informer, which Game Informer is a magazine that is owned by EA, or not EA, but is owned by GameStop. So, just to have that out there if you did not know. But he is the associate editor for Game Informer. Apparently made a lovely little tweet saying, well, I just beat Black Ops Declassified's main story, if you can call it that, in 42 minutes. Wow. 42 minutes, huh? Now, while Dan, I would not call a casual gamer, if you're the editor for a gaming magazine and you do gaming reviews for a living, I'd say that you take your gaming pretty seriously and probably do a lot of it. He is not a speedrunner by any means either, I can imagine. So getting through a game for your standard, I won't say hardcore, I'd say just a standard player. I'm a standard game player. I'm not overly casual about it. I don't sit there and just play iPhone games, but at the same time, I don't sit there and dedicate 50 hours a day somehow to playing games. I am a standard gamer, and I would say Dan probably fits in that same category. He gets to play a lot of games because, hey, he has access to it. I'd play a lot too. 42 minutes is a joke. It really is. I understand that it is a multiplayer game. That's what Call of Duty has been for quite some time now. They've been focusing on multiplayer. I remember playing the original first Call of Duty. Great game. I like the original Call of Duties. They actually had single player care about them, not so much anymore. But single player for 42 minutes is a joke for any game. You might as well have not spent the money. I really like to know how much money was spent on making that 42 minutes. Because I'll guarantee you it was too much. If you can't provide some type of hours of gameplay, and I understand once again, this is a multiplayer focused game. You take your average FPS single player game like Gears of War, generally if you're a competent player, you can burn through those games in 10 hours or so, maybe even less. If you're a bit slower, it might take you a bit longer, but it's within that 8 to 12 hour range on average, I would say. 42 minutes is bad. That's really bad. They might as well have not put it in there. They should be ashamed of themselves for putting it in there. So, maybe that's just me. I don't know. It turns me off of it big time. I don't have a Vita anyway, so I'm not that concerned about it. But if I did, this would immediately been a no, we're not buying a 42-minute single player then multiplayer game. Just don't put the multiplayer in, guys. Save yourself a lot of trouble. Well, folks, that's going to head and do it for me today. I do thank you all for watching. I ask you to go ahead and like and favorite the video. Also, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, folks, keep on gaming.